How would you break bad news to a loved one? When informing friends and family about upsetting news, we think about the situation and make steps to minimise the distress felt by that loved one. When caring for patients, this should be no different. Bad news can come in the form of changes to their treatment plan. Bad news can also come from home, such as death in the family or the termination of a relationship. One patient described how he had taken great pains to prepare himself for the ward round, to present his request for leave, having a bath, putting on his best clothes, only to have his request rejected. To the staff, refusal is no more than a trivial delay in the patient's orderly progression towards discharge. However, to the patient, emotionally and practically, it might be considered a disaster, a crisis that may be further complicated by their mental state. The resulting distress can then be acted out on the ward in increased irritability, aggression, violent incidents, and even absconding. Research shows that 1 in 4 absconders leave following unwelcome events such as refused requests for leave, discharge, or negative outcomes of mental health review tribunals. Bad news mitigation aims to increase staff awareness of when a patient may receive bad news so that psychological and social support can be offered before the distress turns into a conflict incident. We want staff to be aware of occasions and events that might generate angry or upset reactions, and to make sure these are noted during handover. The team must be informed and therefore can arrange for someone to discuss this with the patient if necessary. Here is an example of a team discussion surrounding bad news received by a patient.
I'm sorry. Good morning.
Morning.
Just to let you know, I'll be cancelling Darren's weekend leave as discussed yesterday.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. We'll discuss how best to manage the situation. Will you be telling him in ward round?
Yeah, I'll tell him in one round. If you can get a urine sample from him, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, we'll give it a go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh dear, so Darren wasn't taking that news very well.
It's a shame. He was looking forward to this leave. What happened over the weekend then?
Well, we believe he used some illicit substances and turned up at his mother's house in the early hours of Sunday, shouting abuse at his family and kicking the front door. From the notes, Darren's stepfather came downstairs and there was an altercation in which the police were called and Darren was brought back to hospital on Sunday morning. He has been extremely hostile on the ward since then and has been refusing to take his medication. Emma, can I ask you to please have a one-to-one with him this afternoon following the ward round?
Yeah, definitely. Give it a go. I'll explain the decisions to protect him and his family, and we can discuss how best to go forward from here.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant. Thank you. It's probably best to catch him on a cigarette break. We know he always prefers to chat then. Just give him a chance to discuss his feelings about it all.
Yeah, no problem.
Maybe you can suggest some OT activities just to keep him busy over the weekend as well.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, he enjoys the arts and crafts class, so I'll talk with Lucy and see if she can escort him tomorrow.
Perfect.
That would be really good. Helpful his time whilst he's on the ward. Remind him that it's not a fixed decision, and hopefully reviewing his progress will be able to reinstate the leave as soon as possible.
Yeah, definitely. I'll remind him it's not forever, and that if he can just remain substance use free, then things will progress quickly.
Fantastic. That reminds me we need to get a urine sample as well. Brilliant.
Yeah.
What, when, how do I give bad news mitigation? Staff must be aware of events that might generate angry or upset emotions. If there are small signs of distress, upset or unhappiness, ask if anything is the matter, perhaps particularly after they have had a phone call or received a visit. Work with the multidisciplinary team to ensure bad news relating to their treatment is expressed sympathetically. Ensure that someone has a discussion with the person after they have received the bad news. Give them the chance to discuss their feelings and explore their understanding of the situation. Look for a quiet place. Acknowledge their feelings. Express empathy and sympathy. Give the patient time, attention and respect. Show that you care. Use simple listening techniques. Maintain eye contact. Ask about their worries and use open-ended questions such as, "Please tell me more about it." It is important to find out how much patients understand about recent care decisions. Patients may not be able to absorb all the information they have been given in ward round. Correct any misconceptions they may have, filling in any gaps. Be aware of their emotions. The shock and angry emotion accompanying bad news can create confusion or hinder understanding. This could be compounded by their medication and the illness. A follow-up conversation is a good way to assess their emotional state and understanding. Making sure that patients understand the decision and acknowledging their feelings can improve the relationship and therefore lead to better treatment outcomes. Bad news mitigation will make aggression, self-harm or absconsion less likely. How do you ensure bad news mitigation happens on your ward? During the research trial, we used handover checklists, making sure that 2 questions were considered by the team at handover. Has any patient received any bad news over the past shift, and if they have, how can we support them? Is anyone likely to receive bad news during the coming shift, and if so, how are we going to manage that? Indicate whether this has been completed using the handover checklist. We hope this training has been useful and that bad news mitigation has a positive impact on your ward. Happy mitigating!